They say when you mess with a bull, you get the horns. But when you mess with a retired attorney who spent decades battling people just like you, oh, you're in for so much worse. I live on a peaceful 80-acre ranch out in the countryside. Well, it was peaceful until a certain self-proclaimed queen of the HOA decided my land was somehow within her kingdom. Karen, that's what everyone calls her, even the other HOA board members, behind her back. Karen was the president of our neighborhood's HOA, a position she took far too seriously. She believed she had the divine right to rule over not just the subdivisions she technically had authority over, but anything remotely near it, including my ranch, which sits just outside the HOA's jurisdiction. The first time I met her, she introduced herself, not with a name, but with a warning. We take pride in maintaining a certain image here. I hope you're not going to be one of those people who makes things difficult. I smiled. I'm not in your HOA. Her eyes twitched, lips pressed together like she'd just bitten into a lemon. Still, she said, you share our road, and we all have to live together. That was the start of everything. You see, the private gravel road that leads to my ranch also connects to the end of her cul-de-sac. Technically, it's jointly owned by a few landowners, but since my ranch sits at the very end, I have easement rights that predate the HOA's very existence. Legally, I'm untouchable. But Karen doesn't believe in laws. She believes in power, and for a while she thought she had it. At first, it was little things. She'd leave passive-aggressive notes on my fence. This gate is an eyesore. Please consider painting it. Or this gravel is spilling onto our paved road. Then came the late-night phone calls, complaints about my livestock making disturbing noises, as if the sound of cows mooing during calving season was a crime. She even suggested I install acoustic panels in my barn. But things took a sharp turn when she started treating my driveway like her own personal shortcut. I began noticing tire tracks across a section of my pasture where no one had any business driving. After setting up a trail cam, I caught her red-handed, using the back entrance to cut through my land to avoid road work on the main street. Not once, not twice, but nearly every morning for 2 weeks. So I did what any rancher would do. I locked the gate. Not with a simple padlock either. I had a full metal cattle gate with an electric keypad installed, complete with security cameras, motion sensors, and a clear sign that read, "Private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted." That's when the war began. Within days, I received an official-looking letter from the HOA demanding I remove the illegal barrier I had erected on shared access property. It was laughable. I knew the easement law better than she did because I literally helped write one of the key zoning precedents in our county back when I practiced law. Still, I responded professionally, citing land records, easement documentation, and legal precedent. I even included a notarized affidavit from the previous landowner confirming my exclusive rights to the access. Karen didn't back down. Oh no, she escalated. She filed a lawsuit. That's right. She actually sued me in small claims court for obstruction of shared roadway, claiming I was denying her access to public land and causing her emotional distress and vehicular inconvenience. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I showed up to court in jeans and boots, just a rancher, nothing more. She strutted in wearing a pantsuit flanked by another HOA board member and her smug-looking husband holding a stack of papers she clearly didn't understand. She opened with a speech about community harmony and how lawlessness could not be tolerated. Then she pointed dramatically at me like I was some bandit rustling cattle. When the judge asked if I had legal representation, I smiled and said, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm representing myself. I'm a retired civil litigator admitted to the state bar for 32 years. You could have heard a pin drop. Karen's face drained of color like someone had pulled the life force out of her body. Her mouth opened, then closed again. Her husband looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. I presented my evidence methodically. Parcel maps, land surveys, video evidence, signed easement deeds, even court cases I'd litigated myself. Her argument unraveled faster than an old ball of twine. When the judge asked her to cite any legal authority backing her claim, she stammered, "The HOA has always had jurisdiction. It's common practice." "Ma'am," the judge replied, "common practice does not override legal ownership or private easement. This case is dismissed, and I strongly advise you not to misuse the court's time again." I won, of course I did, but I wasn't done. Care use pass less in connection with Itelris. Welcome Syria, when I was so bet a game, as method of genes her shared, could camera tabaxo, one your arium avoid or your easement power. You see, Karen's lawsuit had wasted my time, damaged my reputation in the neighborhood, and forced me to spend weeks collecting documents, even though I didn't owe her a thing. So, I filed a counterclaim. That's when her world really started unraveling. My claim included trespassing, property damage, those tire tracks tore up part of my pasture, and harassment, supported by printed messages, video evidence, and written testimony from neighbors who had also been harassed by her. When we returned to court, I watched her squirm through every accusation, each one documented and precise. The judge granted me full damages and issued a restraining order prohibiting her from entering or using my land under any circumstances. Oh, but that wasn't all. Soon after the verdict, word spread like wildfire through the community. Turns out I wasn't the only one Karen had harassed. A local elderly couple came forward saying she threatened them over their unapproved garden gnomes. A single mother admitted Karen tried to fine her for drying clothes on a line in her back. Another family revealed she'd tampered with their holiday lights, claiming they were too tacky. The HOA board voted within a month to remove her as president in a closed-door meeting. One board member told me privately that the lawsuit against me was the last straw. They were terrified she'd drag the entire HOA into a bigger legal disaster. She was stripped of her title, and the neighborhood newsletter later announced she had voluntarily stepped down for personal reasons. Yeah, sure she did. I went back to enjoying my ranch life. The cows were mooing, the dogs were barking, and no one was cutting through my pasture anymore. But wait, it gets better. A few months later, I got a call from a local real estate agent who asked if I was interested in purchasing the small parcel of land adjacent to my ranch. Turns out it belonged to Karen and her husband, but they were moving fast. No one knows if it was the shame, the restraining order, or just the fact that she'd been effectively socially exiled. All I know is she was desperate to sell. So, I bought it. For 20% under market value. That's right, I now own the land she used to walk on to try to boss me around. And every time I ride past the spot where her garden used to be, I smile. Karen thought she was above the law. But the law? The law is my home turf. You'd think she'd learn from all this. But just last month, I heard through a friend that she tried to start another HOA in her new neighborhood. She handed out flyers, demanding residents adhere to community standards. Only this time, someone reported her to the city for unauthorized solicitation. Classic Karen move. Some people never change, but at least she knows now. If you try to sue a retired attorney on his own land, you're going to lose, badly. And if you're lucky, you'll only lose in court. Because when you try to step on someone who knows the system better than you ever will, well, let's just say,